English 121, Day 11. Writing a Synthesis Essay. From the Allen and Bacon Guide, pages 301 to 322. The first step in writing a synthesis essay is to explore the rhetorical strategies of the texts you are going to synthesize. Consider particularly the text's purpose, audience, and genre. To whom is the author writing, and why? Does the genre of the text influence the author's choices about language and structure? What angle of vision shapes each text? Also consider whether or not you share the values of the author and his or her intended audience. How has the author used appeals to logos, ethos, and pathos? And how well has the author used evidence to support his or her points? Also be sure to employ dialectic thinking as you explore the similarities and the differences between the texts. Identify main issues, ideas, or themes that surface in your texts to compare and contrast each as you help clarify your understanding and promote your analysis. Consider what main ideas or themes do you see in each text that relate to your synthesis question. For example, how do the theses of each text, either implied or stated, differ? And also consider what are the main similarities and differences between the angles of vision in each text. As you compare and contrast the different perspectives in each text, particularly consider how do the theses of each text differ and what commonalities and contradictions do you see in the ideas of each text? Also, consider what similarities and differences you see in the author's underlying values and assumptions, as well as where there might be overlap in each author's use of examples and terms. Once you have compared and contrasted the text, you can begin to generate your own ideas about the texts. Be sure to incorporate ideas from the chosen texts and yet represent your own independent thinking. Consider how differing perspectives of the texts may lead you to new realizations that will help you enter the conversation surrounding the texts. Think about where you agree or disagree with each text you have analyzed. How have the text changed your perception or understanding of the particular issue at hand? Also consider what you see or think now that you didn't see or think before reading the text. Also think about what new questions related to the synthesis question have come up and what your current view is on the synthesis question. Where would you position yourself in a conversation between the texts, and what do you find to be the most valid, accurate, interesting, or useful in the texts, and why? Once you have developed your ideas about the text, you can begin to take a position on the issue at hand. Be sure to offer some new, risky, or surprising perspective that you've come to after reading the ideas of other writers, pondering them reflectively and keenly. As you take a position, consider what discoveries your thought processes have led to. What are the most important insights that you have gained from the texts? What is your intellectual or personal investment in the synthesis question? Where can you take a risk in your thinking about the synthesis question? And finally, what new perspective do you want to share with your readers? Once you've taken a position, it's time to begin shaping, drafting, and organizing. You'll need to include a summary of the text you'll be discussing, an analysis of each of those texts, a synthesis of your own ideas based on those texts as well. Start with an introduction that hooks the reader's attention and also presents the synthesis question that will drive your analysis and synthesis of the texts. This should be based on the texts themselves as well as your own independent thinking. From there, move on to present your own thesis. This will forecast the main analysis and synthesis points that you will make in the essay, as well as create a map for your readers. The thesis should be your own original connection of ideas and should contain some element of risk or newness. From your thesis, move into your first main analysis point. This is where you will probably want to go ahead and provide a brief summary of each of the texts. It should take up about a half to 2/3 of the essay. It will lay the foundation for the synthesis to come. You will be discussing the ways that the text relate to the synthesis question, as well as including points about both the rhetorical features of the text and the author's ideas, explaining relevant similarities and differences between the texts. Once you've completed your analysis, you can move on to synthesis. This should take up about 1/3 of your essay at the least. It will show your informed, independent thinking and how you have worked your way to a new understanding of the issue at hand. It will discuss your new insights and perspectives that you've come to after studying the text. Finally, include a conclusion in which you reiterate the analytical points you have made, you restate the thesis, and pull together your new insights. Be sure to leave your reader with something interesting to think about. Follow these steps and you'll be able to execute a successful synthesis essay.